good morning, and welcome to our session of financial literacy for entrepreneurs. My name is Muraro Nematayeni, founder of ImPowerX Advisory Services and Empowered Woman Book Club. With me today, I've got my colleague Dipuo Mahlayela, and then on this session, it's more around financial literacy for entrepreneurs. We want this to be an engagement and you sharing about what you do, what has been working well, and what tips you have when it comes to finances. So you're most welcome. If you are ready to introduce yourself, you can just show by hand, and then I will hand over to you. Over to you, Nonhlakanipho.
Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Notlaganipo. I am from Durban. I just raised my hand first because I was night shift. Basically, my business is a Manzini business, a solution consultant that deals with human. There's most of the people say human resources, but it's human relations. With aim of creating a healthy human relationships between the employer, the employee, as well as the union. Partly the most important focus or value chain for the Manzini business is to prevent the disputes in the workplace by making sure that we assist the SMME in creating their policies within their own organization, but they are then governed or are in relations with the BCA as well as the labor relations in South Africa. Once we have done those trainings within the organizations, with the employer, and the unions, and there are firm up agreements, we then should there also be a misconduct, whether from the employee, depending on who has came into contact with us, to also assist in disciplinary hearings and also training the supervisors or managers within the company how to then initiate a discipline should there be a misconduct, and should the company needs us to assist in terms of representing them in the arbitration or CCMA, we are also available. But our main core is to prevent the disputes, the CCMA, as well as the conciliation and the arbitration. Yeah, it's a new startup business which started this year. I haven't fully fledged like now that we are talking about financial. When I started, I thought it was going to be easy because I've been doing this part of the job within Transnet for more than 15 years. I thought joining, preparing for my retirement age, it will be easy when I tap into the SMME starting on my own first, but then I find it too challenging in terms of finances, starting a business, because previously I've been so used when, like in the organization, when you want something, you just say we need a project. Now we have people who will be running the projects and they'll be doing everything, and then it will be handed over. You'll say, oh, I don't like this. I want it to be done like this. But now with being an SME, everything I have to do it on my own. I have to outsource. Yeah, it's quite challenging. But I'm hoping in this session I will be able to learn more on how to manage finances and where to tap in and where not to tap in. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Nonhlakanipho, for that introduction. You went broad in terms of the challenges as well and the experience of one when running the business as an entrepreneur. Thank you for that contribution. Who would like to go next? 30 seconds speech, introduce yourself, where you're based, what you do, how people can get in touch with you. Is there anyone else that would like to do the introduction, or should we move on? Okay, in that note, thank you all for being here. Today, it's all about financial literacy for entrepreneurs. And as I had introduced myself earlier on, I'm Moraro Nematayeni from ImPowerX Advisory Services. And at ImPowerX, we believe in our clients' ability to manage their finances. And some of our clients are also entrepreneurs. And on a month-to-month basis, we have this monthly money meeting, which is an engagement of coming together and sharing about financial literacy and also about the work we do and how we can do this together. So one of the services that we offer, we actually have four main services. The first one being flexible financial planning, where in that we are looking at where you are in your life stage, what your needs are, and also ensuring that we offer financial solutions that will assist you to reach your goals. And then the second one, it's the financial literacy education, where we believe in the empowerment of people through education and that people are capable of making informed financial decisions that will benefit them and also the future generation. So it's financial literacy, financial fitness, financial wellness, and these workshops range to a wide range of audience. And it's all about walking the financial journey with you. And our workshops are usually divided into four sections where we talk about spending and budgeting, saving and investing, using credit wisely, and also understanding banking. And these are offered to corporate schools, church groups, forums, communities, stockfiles, group of friends, family investors, because we believe that every decision is a financial decision. So wherever there's people, there's finances involved. And then the third one is coaching and mentorship, where we help you implement an action plan and offer guidance through the journey. And we also provide with networking opportunities and connect you with the relevant stakeholders that you need. And lastly is the regulatory examination support, where it's RE1 and RE5 preparations. So that's what we do. And when it comes to financial literacy and entrepreneurs, this is where in most cases you just hear people say separate the personal finances and the business finances, because that is the starting point. And it seems to be a challenge to even people that have been in business for quite some time when it comes to separating those two, more especially for someone who has started their own business, because there's always that feel, it's my business. When they say the money from the business must stay in the business, and someone be like, whose business is it? Um, and then they want to do that and use those finances for their own personal gain without proper records. So in this session, we just want to explore that. So in this session, we just want to explore that. I wanted this to be an engagement session. So anyone that would like to tap in terms of their experience when it comes to the first basic aspect of managing finances with regards to separating personal and business, what has worked for you? If you would like to contribute, you can just unmute and share or raise your hand, and then we'll give you the platform. They always say that money is not an easy topic to discuss. So I am quite surprised with the silence in this room in terms of what is going on. Um, is anyone willing to unmute and share about their experiences or should we go back to making this a presentation type of engagement? Because this is our session, and all of us here are most welcome to share and contribute. We didn't want to make it a lecture or a presentation like how we normally do, because we felt there is usually not enough time to engage. And usually in this session, when it's an hour long, people, when it's like 22, quarter to, that's when they want to contribute and engage. And they feel like when it's o'clock, they are cut off. So we don't want to do that. Um,
I think for me, the what I will ask you to advise us would say, as an entrepreneur, how do you then draw a line to say this is my salary? My salary must be uh, this much, because we know would say with the entrepreneurship, like let's say the market value, or like as an entrepreneur, or if I'm working for a different company, my market value would be around 30,000. But now with the businesses, you see the business sometimes you can't even make that 30,000. Sometimes the amount where you make more than 30,000, you make in Campe or 100,000, or when do you differentiate to say this is the salary that I want to pay myself? Do we pay ourselves based on the market value, or do we just determine what should be the salary?
Thank you very much for that particular contribution, which is also a practical example that most people or all of us are going through when it comes to the matter of entrepreneurship. So when it comes to comparing the spreadsheets in terms of how things would be going if I was in corporate and how much my market value is, and when you're running a business, those are two different worlds. And when it comes to business, it must also be informed about how the business is doing. And there's different ways of doing that. Some people just set a particular salary amount for that time period. If you're starting a year and saying, I'm going to earn X amount of money. And depending on how the business is doing, my salary would be this particular one. And on a month where the business does so well, then you draw the same amount of salary. And then whatever amount is left, you keep it in the business, knowing that when you have bad months in the business, you will be able to draw from that amount. And when the business does not do so well because there has been better months, then you've got funds that you are able to draw that particular salary from. And in cases where that month where there is a lot of money in the business hasn't come through, then you just keep a record in terms of how much my salary is supposed to be. And then the business did not make that much in this particular month, so I'm not able to earn X amount of money. But when the business in the following month or months makes that amount, then you are able to withdraw the the funds for your salary. There's other people that I've had in experiences. Okay, well noted, Busi. There's other people where I've had in experiences where they use a particular percentage of how the business is doing. And then when the business has made X amount, then they draw a particular percentage from the business. Um, yeah, that's my contribution to that particular question. Anyone else that would like to come in terms of what has been working for them or how they determine their salary when it comes to entrepreneurship? In that case, let me move forward and then just share about what we have in terms of financial literacy education for entrepreneurs. So it's very important for entrepreneurs to know or be financial literate, because there is so many decisions that you have to make when you are running a business, and those decisions are particularly bordered around finances, even deciding how many people you're going to work with in the business, which clients you're going to take on. They all include finances, because with some, you might take a client on in your local vicinity and a client in another province. You definitely won't be able to, you definitely can't be charging the same amount for that particular work, because there's costs that are involved. So it's critical that you know the numbers and how to apply them, so that when those decisions come across, you're able to make them effectively. When you are in the entrepreneurial space, there's people that will approach you wanting to buy shares into the business, or there is instances where you're going out there to pitch and share about what your business does, and also raise funds for this venture that you're in. So it's critical that you know the numbers and are able to then communicate those numbers. So it's critical that we manage both personal and business finances effectively. And sometimes when you're in the entrepreneurial world, everything just happens through the business, and you just throw money as and when there is a need. And what is important is that we keep track of those expenses, so that we can say that on this particular month, the business has made X amount, and what came from the business to myself, either through those transfers or a payment on a particular month, is X amount, because that helps even when you're communicating and keeping track in terms of how the business is doing. And lastly, it is critical that you set goals for the business. There's goals for you as entrepreneurs, and there's also goals for the business itself. And when we started here, I spoke about the personal and the business, keeping those two separate. So when it comes to spending and budgeting, it's critical that we keep those two separate, be able to differentiate what is my personal budget and what is my business budget. There's a lot of expenses that we take care of. Sometimes it's interlinked, where you're paying for your cell phone, but it's a cell phone that you use for the business. Where do you, or how do you account for that particular expense? Things like insurance for the business is quite clear, that is related to the business, but there's other things that it borders between personal and business use. And it's critical that we make that clear distinction and able to set up a comprehensive budget that will speak to a particular month on the personal side and also on the business side. So as we said on the budgeting session that we had earlier this year, it's critical that we understand that the budget is a living document. It needs to be monitored, it needs to be adjusted all the time, because that assists us so that we're able to tell the story about how the business is doing. Some people are quiet in this session, and I know we have been walking this journey together. Some have just started as startups, some are running their particular businesses, and it's a different way of approaching finances based on where you are in the business itself. But when it comes to spending and budgeting, the most critical thing is to keep those two separate, and also be able to do their budgets, so that you can tell the money story in terms of how the business is doing. The second aspect in financial literacy is on credit. So even when we are in entrepreneurship, it's critical that we know how to use credit wisely. There is different types of credits that are available. There's business loans, there's credit cards that are for the business, and then there's also venture capitals. There's different people that will come and say, here's the money, and you must be able to know what those different types are and which one you've got an appetite for. we usually get people that says, I want to raise money for the business or I need funding. And then when you engage and tell them about the options that are available, the places that they can go to get the funding, when they find out that even institutions like the NEF, they give you a loan and then there's an agreement that you need to sign, they get a shock of their life because they just think everything is supposed to be a grant. And without putting much learning into what the different types are, you might end up signing up for something not knowing what the terms and implications are. So it is important to understand the types of credits that are available and also building and maintaining a good credit score. Because when we talk about credit score, there is different avenues that are available. The credit bureau gives you one report once a year. So you're able to check how you're doing with your credit score and if there's things that you can do or put in place to ensure that everything runs smoothly. There's a risk with some available avenues where you can check your credit score and reports where they encourage you to take more credit so that you can up the score. But I always say there's no need to say we're building this if it's not towards the root of attaining that particular thing that you want to buy. For example, when people are starting out, they are told take a phone or open a store card so that you can build your credit so that you can get better rate when you buy a car. And then it's 10 years later or 20 years later, they're defaulting on that particular um, credit that they took because it was not in their plans to even buy a car, but because someone just says, when you go and buy a car. But if it's in your plan, that's where financial planning also comes in. Then you are able to make that decision knowing that because I'm doing this, this will come out of it. And still, when we are in credit, there is different ways that one can use in business in order to manage and also reduce business debt. Most businesses have got an overdraft account linked to it. And then you ask them how the overdraft works, and then the business owner has no idea. Similar to the overdraft linked to the personal account, and then you ask them how it works, and then they don't know how to use it to their advantage. So when we talk about using credit wisely, it also goes beyond to getting financial literate in terms of knowing the product itself, how the product works, and how you can use it to your advantage, because there's no need to have a million credit line on your overdraft on the business when you are not even in the potential of making that amount, or if the business is not producing or needing that working capital, because usually it's for working capital. If your business is not in that level, there's temptation that can come in that would make you want to use that money not for business purposes. I say this due to also an experience that I had when I was working in business banking, where people have large credit lines, but you look at what they're doing with that amount and it's not even business related. Now we need to do a review and motivate why this million overdraft needs to remain on their account, but one is not providing financial statements or even um, able to account for how those funds that were supposed to be business funds are used in the business. So for entrepreneurs, it's very critical that we use credit wisely and we also use the amount that we've received for the purposes that it was intended for. Anyone that has experience in that regard or would like to share something around the use of credits in the business, you're most welcome to show, and then we can just give you the platform. What is your appetite when it comes to taking up credits in your business at this point? Moving forward, so the other thing when it comes to financial literacy and saving and investing, it's important that we also save for our business as entrepreneurs. When we spoke about having goals in the business, it's also critical that we have saving and investment goals as well. Um, we usually talk about emergency fund on the personal side of things, but also on the business, it is critical that we have an emergency fund that will cater for emergencies that come through for the business. And mostly when it comes to business, it's not just an emergency fund. There is also what we call an opportunity fund, where you have money available that when there is an opportunity that you would like to invest in as a business, you've got funds available. We all understand the concept of emergency fund and having funds available, just that the means that people use in order to cater for this, it's usually the credit card or an overdraft account, so or a revolving loan. So the concept is there. Even in business, it's usually similar, where people are saying, I've got a credit card for the business. So if anything happens, then we've got funds available. But as entrepreneurs, when we start our saving and investments, it's critical that the first thing that we save or invest for, it's those investment opportunities, um, it's those emergencies that may come up for the business. So there's different options that are available for business in terms of investments and saving. And it's critical that even as we invest for our business, we understand key concepts like asset allocations and where the money is actually invested, and also the diversifying when it comes to the investments that we put the money in. And lastly, we're going to speak on understanding banking for entrepreneurs. This is one of the critical things, or one of the most asked questions in terms of which bank is most suitable for me. I'm still starting. Where can I open an account? Which one has better rates? So banks have also been competing in terms of offering value for clients and also offering what will speak to where you are in the business. So when it comes to choosing the right bank account for your business, there is what we call a pricing guide, which I encourage each and every person to go through and read. And with this, you get different options in terms of what is available. Sometimes you are in a business that has a high volume of transactions, and the 80 Rand or 85 Rand account per month, it's not suitable because based on how your business transactions flow, you end up paying more. And sometimes you've got a low transaction type of business, and paying a bundled fee or a single fee option of 200 Rand or 300 Rand is not suitable for you. So it's critical that you go through your banking transaction history and be able to see how am I conducting my business, and based on what they said I will pay, how much am I paying? And if you're still new and still starting up, it's critical that you engage or check with the different banks what they're offering. There's banks where they offer you free banking, where you don't have to pay a monthly account fee. However, there's transactional fees that you pay. So it's set up as a pay as you use account. But for someone who doesn't have transactions, then that could be a best option. But when it comes to banking and business, I always say that if your business can make the 80 Rand a month that you're able to pay the bank, you're moving forward. So even if it's 100 Rand or 200 Rand, and then that 80 Rand as a transaction goes to those costs of paying the bank, you're moving forward. Because most people don't even have a bank account because they say, these bank charges, this banks are charging us a lot. But that just shows that now they're operating whatever they're doing within their personal account. And when you need to go and source funding or tell the story of the business, then you don't have a clear picture in terms of the income and the expenses for that particular business. So it's critical that we understand even the services and the fees that those businesses are offering. There's also digital tools, there's banking platforms, banking apps that are available. I still get shocked when someone sends me a slip from the ATM saying that they've just paid for something or they've just paid for a service that we're offering. And I'm thinking, couldn't they just link this transaction on their banking app and then put in the banking details and make the payment from the comfort of their home? So it's critical that we invest time as entrepreneurs to also learn about the different options that are available, because banks are also expanding. Sometimes when you've done a service for someone, you can just send them a request for payment where they don't need to put in their banking details. Say, for example, I offer a consultation service, and then we charge 500 Rand for consultation, and then I send through a request for payment to your number, which is linked to your banking, and then you just get a notification from the app that there's a request for payment from ImPowerX Advisory Services for 500 Rand, and then you just click accept, and then the money goes from your account to my account without you doing the admin of adding the banking details or copying it from the invoice that has been sent through or the WhatsApp that comes through with the banking details. So those are some of the tools that we need to familiarize ourselves with. And another one is online payment systems. So those payment gateways, understanding how it works. I am one that is still needing to learn about those, because sometimes you've got clients that are booking for appointments and then they're like, I thought when I was booking, I'm going to have the option to put in the credit card details and then pay there and there. So our people and our clients, we need to better understand them. What is convenient for them? Do they just want to take out their credit card, punch in the details as they're booking for their appointment, and then the payment is done? Or do they want you to send the details on an invoice so that you can have an EFT transaction? So those are some of the things that when we talk about financial literacy for entrepreneurs, we need to be aware of, and we also need to ensure that we are doing what our clients want and what they prefer. Anyone that has questions, comments at this point, you're most welcome to indicate, and then we can engage on what we have shared around. With that said, I think we're going to finish early today. But let me just touch on a few things. The first one being business financing options. So there's different sources of finance. There's equity, there is debt, there's grant, there's also crowdfunding. So those are some of the options that people can use to fund their businesses. And when we talk about entrepreneurs and businesses, most people think, okay, I need funding for my business. I need funding to start this particular business. I read somewhere when someone wrote that in order to start a business, you need a customer, and then to grow the business, you need the capital or the funding. And sometimes we mix those things up, and then you think, okay, I need funding to start my business, and then to grow it, I need the customers. But when it comes to businesses, the customer is always the person that you need to start, and then that is the person that you serve as you do your business. So it's important that we understand the different advantages and disadvantages of those different options that are available, and then also be able to know how to prepare for that application that you need to submit. Like I said, when we're still starting about spending and budgeting, keeping track of that gives you a foundation, gives you information that you can use to tell your story about money in the business. So it's critical that we understand what are the business financing options, also understand where we can go and find business finances. There's different institutions that offer those services, that offer funding to the different startups and entrepreneurs based on where you are and based on what the targeted needs are for that particular business. There's businesses where they've got targets to give out money, so they get rated in terms of how much money they've given out. And if you don't know about them, then you're not reaching out, they're not reaching their targets because they're not giving those loans, they're not giving those grants. So it works in both favors to know what are the options and who are the people to talk to in those different spaces. And secondly, before we close, we do financial planning. We call it flexible financial planning. And then also when we are entrepreneurs, there's other aspects of financial planning that we do not look at. So financial planning has different areas. There's financial management, there is risk planning, which is insurance, there's retirement planning, investment planning, there is tax planning, there's also wealth and estate planning. So in that one, that's when we're saying, with this business, how do I ensure that it continues to exist even after my own existence? So firstly, retirement planning for entrepreneurs, it's very critical that we plan for our retirement. There's different options where we can look at the retirement annuities, which is a product which is suited for someone who is on their own and then they would like to start saving for their own retirement. Insurance considerations, there is insurance that you need for your business based on the type of business that you're running. Some insurance are specific to the industry that you're operating on. And for us offering professional services, then there is professional indemnity insurance that you know on this particular day, every month, this company that you have contracted with will be debiting money from your account for the insurance that you need. There is also public liability insurance to ensure that your property and also third party that may be in your vicinity or in your building are also protected should anything happen. So insurance is covering for the risk that may occur. Compliance is very critical, and tax planning for entrepreneurs is also part of that. There is also succession planning and how you can exit in the business. So this some of the key concepts that can be explored in a full session where one gets to understand about succession planning, the practicality of it, the different options, because succession planning is it's not just one thing that you do to ensure that your business continues, but there is a wide range of options and different ways to structure succession planning. So, and if you want to exit the business, what are the different strategies that are available? And we've got financial planners and resources that are available for entrepreneurs, which I think it's very critical that as you walk this journey, you have people that are working with you and also be able to assist in the different aspects of things. So most of you have seen in the past day, we had shared about the financial literacy education we have for employees. So that is just one of the key aspects, that when you're running a business, you take care of yourself as the entrepreneur, by ensuring that your financial plan is in order. You also take care of the business itself to ensure that the financial planning for the business is in order. And lastly, you also take care of your employees. There's something that we call employee benefits, where you put that in place to ensure that the people that you are working with know that you value them within the business. I see there's a few chats that came through. The first one is saying, any suggestion where we can put an emergency fund? Currently, I have it under my credit card and don't think it's wise due to bank charges. So when it comes to emergencies, you would want to put your money in a space where you're able to access it when there is a need to receive that money. So you mentioned the bank charges. When you are saving money in a savings account, there is no bank charges. Even the business option has the business savings account, so you can explore that. And if you look at the interest, yes, it's going to be a small interest because you've got access to the funds, the interest that you earn on that, and also check that credit card. There will be something where they will say there's a debit and a credit interest. So they will show you how much interest you will earn if the money sits in the credit card. And it will be something ridiculous, even a 0 point something percentage, not even a full percentage that you are earning in that space. So they also charge monthly fees for the credit card depending on which account you're using. So there's others where the monthly account fee also includes the fees for the credit card. So it's critical that, or for all the accounts that we have in all the different institutions, I know Sejola with different banks. So go and assess how much am I paying per month for this particular product that I have with these institutions. And then that will help you make a better informed decision in terms of where to put in the money. But a simple answer to your question, a business savings account would be a good start in order to put your money for the emergencies. Another question, I haven't started operations yet. I'm here to get info that will empower me as I start and avoid mistakes. I would like to get more information on ensuring equipments like cameras, laptops, etc. Thank you for that particular question, and you're most welcome. It's very critical that we get the information before we start, so that we don't make the mistakes that people have made. So when it comes to insurance, there is two different lines of insurance. We used to call it short-term insurance and long-term insurance. Or better put, the short term is the non-life insurance and the long term is the life insurance. So when it comes to equipments, then we'll be looking at short-term insurance, where based on the value of whatever you are insuring, just like your car and your house, it falls under similar types of insurance, where that value of whatever you are insuring will be what is insured. So it's a matter of indemnifying you or putting you in a space that you were in before the incident happens. So we can engage further and also look at the different options. What I always say is it's critical that we make informed decisions. So when it comes to financial literacy, it's a tool that assists you to make better decisions based on the different options that you have available. So whatever products that one might want to take up, it's critical that you get different codes. You get to read through the codes or get someone to read through the codes for you and explain them to you. And then you can make a decision that is based on what would work best for you. That's my take on that. Anyone that would like to comment? There's a question around when is a good time to register a business that is currently being run informally that makes less than 3,000 Rand a month. Mpo? Okay. Yeah. So you can register your business at any point. I would say that as you start the business, it's an entity that is separate from you, and then registering it allows you to keep track of the records in terms of how the business is doing, and then also be able to keep those two things separate. There is no monthly amount that you pay for having a business registered. So it will be a good start to even register it as soon as you start the business, and then you take it from there. Then you are able to say, this is where I started. To register a company is 175 Rand. So you can register as soon as you're ready to have that process done. And then depending on how you would want to grow the business or which doors you would want to open, it can work in your advantage, because most of the opportunities that come through, they would want to see that the business that you're running is registered. And if it's not registered and you don't have the CIP's registration document, there's doors that you might not be able to open. So depending on the type of business and which doors you would want to open, I would say it's important that you register your business as soon as you are ready. Thank you all for joining us this morning. We are going to make this available. And yeah, when we started, we said, let's introduce our businesses. So I don't know if there's anyone else that would like to take the time to have a 30 seconds pitch, share about who they are, where they're based, what the business does, so that even those that are listening here, if they need your services, then they can reach out. And for those that will be watching the recording, if they would need your services, then they would also reach out. We can see with a show of hands, maybe we can take 2 or 3 people, and then we close. You're most welcome, Mosibudi.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Musibudi, but most of the people, they know me as Vero. My surname is Mama Bola. I'm based here in Limpopo. I can't say the town, but I'm based in everywhere in Limpopo. I'm currently with Outsurance, with the short-term insurance, like the one that you said, for the items, not for life. Yeah, what I do on daily basis, I insure companies, any kind of business, as long as that business is valid, and also as long as you run with the vivid things, not the drugs and other things. Yeah, I can say that. As long as you are running with the legal things, I'm yours. So what I do on daily basis, I do insurance. I visit all the towns in Limpopo. Then I don't have an office. I have got a mobile office. Then my clients are my priorities. You tell me where you are, then I visit you wherever you are. And then doing the quotations, it's for free. You don't have to pay anything. That's it.
Thank you very much for that introduction. And then you're most welcome. You know that when there is short-term insurance needs, Assurance is here, and Mosibodi is here to also assist us. Anyone else that would like to introduce themselves, their business, where they're based, how people can get hold of you? We'll just take one more and then we'll close. Going once, gone. So thank you all for joining us this morning. We hope that you found this engagement fruitful. And we wanted it to be more of an engagement session where you share about your experiences, the questions that you have, and how you can make this better. And we'll also try it out in future sessions. So when you come to these things, come prepared to share, because this is not supposed to be a training session. We do offer training sessions. So if you would like to explore that, or if you want us to arrange for training that will be specific to your needs, or also do coaching and mentorship that will be in line with where you are in the business, you are most welcome to join us. So if you'd like to connect further, I will share our details on the chat functionality. We are ImPowerX Advisory Services on the social platforms, and we are available on 083-261-0700, or you can drop us an email at info@impowerx.co.za. We'll also share this recording, similar to the other recordings for the previous month, on our YouTube channel. You're most welcome to follow us there, subscribe, and then you'll be able to see more of what we are offering. Enjoy the rest of your day. It's a beautiful Tuesday. So let's go and make the most for our businesses, and most importantly, for ourselves and our customers. Thank you.
Thank you, Mularo.
Hi.